Good morning, Mayor Johnson and Chief Engineer Willingham.
Good morning, President Nelson.
Hello from the Shackleton Crater. Ish.
I hear the construction of Civitas Stellas is coming along nicely. When can we expect supply shipments?
Hopefully soon, although the launch pad isn't quite ready.
Are you growing enough food for the population you're expecting?
Yes, fortunately, hydroponics technologies have made it much simpler, so the hardest part for agricultural engineers was to genetically modify our plants.
Fortunately, we now have plants which produce much more nutrients while being much more durable.
The plants need sun, so I assume they're not in the main part of the city?
Yes. Because of its high elevation, the crater rim gets near constant sunlight. Our greenhouses are over there.
So are many other things, such as our water processing plant.
The ice is at the bottom of the crater because it's so dark down there, right?
Absolutely. The rest of the city is about a mile away, so we just pipe the water along underground. It's fairly simple stuff.
Our gravity simulation technology, though, much more complicated stuff.
You use rotation to simulate gravity. It was designed by mechanical engineers. Easy.
Well, yes and no. There are a few wrinkles.
One problem is that the moon's gravity still does exist. To account for this, the floors of each tower is slanted at about 80 degrees.
See, it's not too complicated.
Well, there are other problems too. We have 24 towers, and the underground tunnels connecting the towers obviously don't rotate. The elevators are the best way to reach the tower from the ground, but they need to begin spinning as they go up.
Wait, but now because you're in the middle of the tower, you won't feel the rotational gravity as much.
The elevator to the side of the tower also rotates, so that by the end, everything is lined up as it should.
Okay, I see how that might be beneficial to you, but is there anything that might be beneficial to us here on Earth?
Probably nothing shareable, unfortunately, although biomedical engineering has given us our two main medical techniques of bioprinting and gene therapy via CRISPR-Cas9.
Okay, will your energy supply be ready to handle your population?
Yes, we are currently in the process of completing our fusion reactor.
You chain together multiple fusion engines to get more energy out of it, right?
Yes.
Well,
Here, look at this. Our fusion process uses a combination of helium-3, helium-3 fusion, and helium-3 deuterium fission in a cyclic pattern of both fusion and fission. Through this process, the entire mass of any fuel we add can be converted into energy, which is a lot.
for instance, 1 gram of matter, about this much, can be turned into 85 terajoules of energy, which is comparable to an atomic bomb.
That system seems pretty complicated. Wouldn't it break constantly? Also, are you safe relying on helium-3? It won't be around forever.
It's a complicated system, so failures are likely. In the case of the reactor not functioning or being out of helium-3, our system engineers can switch over to our solar panels, which are also located on the edge of the crater.
Our nuclear engineers know what they're doing. And yes, helium-3 won't last forever, but neither will the sun, technically. It will last long enough for it not to be a concern. There's enough lying around on the surface that our swarm bots can harvest them without even traveling particularly far.
Helium-3 isn't the only material we can harvest from the regolith. All the necessary materials for geopolymers are there. Geopolymers can function as a binding agent.
Then we can combine those and much of what's left with water to create lunarcrete.
I can see your lunarcrete plant here on my model, but how do you use the lunarcrete? On Earth, we mostly use 3D printing drones, but that won't work without atmosphere.
Our civil engineers set up temporary scaffolding structures to transport mobile 3D printers. Otherwise, it's the same basic principles. Lunarcrete, reinforced with metal, and a special ingredient, silk.
Silk has a high tensile strength, even compared to steel. It's also renewable and biodegradable.
And we produce ours using genetically modified silks. Spiders are just difficult to keep and creepy.
There's another benefit you might not have thought of. Metals, like steel, expand and contract while heated and cooled. Silk, on the other hand, does not.
Most of our other resources come from asteroids.
And what materials might those be?
Waters, silicates, and rare earths most importantly. The latter two are especially useful for industry, producing electronics and magnets, respectively.
Electronics? Those better be for us. You know how much damage the solar flare did.
Some, yes. All, no. I appreciate your concern, but we need resources over here too.
Anyways, while the asteroids are quite far away, we gravitationally manipulate their orbits so they end up orbiting the moon. Then harvesting them is easy.
Would it be possible to send some of the materials to Earth for us? We have the same mining technology.
That should be doable. Definitely easier than sending fully processed goods over.
Oh no, do we have to reprogram everything now? Actually, that shouldn't be that hard. Never mind.
And this was all done using the engineering design process?
Yes. I suppose I should tell you more about it because my boss says I have to. Like I haven't been doing that for this entire conversation.
Just go on, please.
Okay. As you know, the engineering design process consists of 7 steps. There are many different ways to phrase it, but this one's my personal favorite. First, you identify the problem and learn the specifications.
For instance, energy technology. A problem is powering an entire city. Some specifications are how much power the city actually needs and what types of power are available on the moon, or the benefits and drawbacks of each.
Then your next steps are to brainstorm solutions and start to design them. In our city, we eventually settled on a chain fusion process, but of course, no idea works perfectly right away. So your next steps are to create a prototype, test it, and improve it. And though we settled on the chaining idea early on, it took a while to come up with the exact system. Others were more expensive or less reliable or didn't work for various other reasons.
And finally, you share your idea. We discussed this already. By the way, thank you for all these amazing technologies: asteroid mining, gene editing, and fusion engines.
They can do great things. And when it's finished, Civitas, Stellas should be able to combine all of these into a happy and healthy and resilient place to live.
Again, thank you for the aid, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.